And Chris, when you bring up that we don't know the statistics, I got to think here in the next 2 or 3 years, some savant's going to dig into all the numbers and lay out something similar to what we saw years ago with the early entries into the NFL draft to wake some guys up and say, hey, it's not always the best move to go into the NFL draft early. Then college football cooperates with the NFL. They start to hand out draft grades so guys are informed. And maybe there's some information that's going to be dug up and compiled here in the next few years to kind of lay it out for college athletes to let them know, hey, this is still a viable option. It still could be the right move. You just need to be informed about, the possibilities out there.
Yeah, and I mean it's impacted high school recruiting too, right? It's impacted JUCOs. It's impacted. I really feel for, Mark, and I say I feel for. Granted, they're getting paid millions of dollars to do it, but the head coaches. I mean, it's their jobs have gotten harder. Not only do they have to recruit high school kids, not only do they have to recruit the portal, they got to recruit their own roster, right? They got to make sure their own roster's happy and doesn't dip out and leave. So. Again, the transfer portal giveth, the transfer portal taketh away, and I've said many times to Gamecock fans that. I feel like we'd be very hypocritical to be harsh about the portal and talk negatively because South Carolina has been one of the biggest benefactors of it when you look at Spencer Rattler and Juice Wells. And you look at this past year's team that was led by so many transfer portal talents. You know what I mean? So, on the flip side, on the positive, I think it's given a football team like South Carolina, it's given the Gamecocks, their program, an opportunity to – no longer does it take 4, 5, 6 years to build a program, Mark. I mean, realistically, a guy like Spencer Rattler, if you just, you look back in the old days of just recruiting, right, it may have taken you like 3, 4 years to get a guy like that, and then another 2, 3 years to groom him to the level to where he was ready to go and make a big impact. Now, boom, you insert him right away, and you get an 8-win season. So, but that's also why the expectations, coaches are not getting 5, 6 years to build a program. If you're not winning by year 3, I don't think he's the guy. So there's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of pressure, but pressure makes diamonds. So,
well, Chris, you mentioned a lot of positives and a lot of negatives that have ensued over the last year, and it all comes under the responsibility, as you mentioned, under Shane Beamer. So after year 2, what are your thoughts about, or all your beliefs about Shane Beamer confirmed, or what did we learn this past season?
No, I mean, I feel as confident about Shane Beamer as I've ever felt, right? I mean, I was confident from day one that he was the guy for South Carolina. Now, what exactly did that mean? How many games would he win? That was yet to be seen. But, he's his positivity is infectious. He instills a belief in his players that is very, very evident. I mean, that's the greatest compliment I think I could give to Shane Beamer through 2 seasons is the way that his teams are able to bounce back and battle in the face of adversity, right? And how resilient they are. Because, I mean, I proclaimed this team is dead after the Florida game. I really did. I very vocally went on record and said that you had no chance against Tennessee. Tennessee was going to, and I quote, bend you over and do whatever they wanted to do with you for 60 minutes. And sure enough, Carolina comes out there and shocks the world, right? Shocks the college football world. And then you end the season beating the arch rival. So, the way that the team has been able to bounce back under adversity under his leadership and what they've been able to do with still, right? He didn't take over a loaded roster. What he's been able to do in regards to selling the program to top prospects. And I mean, you think about the history they're creating, right? Back-to-back wins over top 10 teams. Mark, that had never been done before. Not even Steve Spurrier had done it. They beat 2 top 10 teams in the same season since 2013. That's when Steve Spurrier was the head coach. So when you're starting to accomplish things, historical things that happened back in the glory days, I think that's a really positive sign. And then you look at recruiting, and they're recruiting at a clip. The blue chip ratio, Mark, that's something we talk about a lot. The blue chip ratio, I don't even think Steve Spurrier recruited at this type of blue chip ratio. So, I mean, I think they're doing all the right things. I'm extremely confident in Shane Beamer. I think you can still see signs that, he's somewhat of a young coach. I mean, listen, Beamer's a fiery guy, and he likes to jab back and forth with the media. He likes to go back and forth on social media, but that plays well, I think, in today's age of college football, right? Again, he's a young, new age coach. He's active on social media. He interacts. He engages the fans. He knows how to fire up the fan base, right? So, I think that I think the big mystery right now is just this OC hire, Dowell Loggins. I think a lot of his tenure is not just going to be based off of how many games do you win, right? I mean, winning cures all, certainly, but I think this fan base wants to see good offense more than anything, right? So if you're winning 8 games, let's say year 4 or 5 comes around and you're still kind of going 8-4. If you're scoring 35, 36, 40 a game, I think everybody say, okay, we're just a couple pieces away. This is fun. This is whatever. But even if you're winning 8, if you're scoring 24 a game, if the offense is stagnant, if it's I just don't know how long fans are going to want to watch. And I'm not sitting here telling you, oh, year 4 or 5, the hot seat's coming, because I really think Shane Beamer is the guy for South Carolina. But this I think that's the mystery right now, and what we're unsure of moving forward is this Dowell Loggins hire going to work? But Shane Beamer implores that he got his guy. But I think, how could you not be confident, Mark, again, in what Shane Beamer has done? And I believe it's Beamer ball to the moon, and I have no reason to believe, again, that he's not the guy. Now, again, there's a lot of things at the lineup. What does that mean, right, Mark? Is he the guy to get South Carolina to double-digit wins? Is he the guy to get him back to Atlanta? Is he the guy to break through and win an SEC championship? I don't know. I think there's a lot of things that have to. I think it's going to take years of recruiting recruiting really well, to realistically challenge the Georgias of the SEC and that monster they've built, right? All of a sudden, the East feels like it's kind of becoming the West, when Bama would just taunt their opponents for years, and you could almost just chalk that up as an automatic L. But I think the Gamecocks are trending the right direction. I think positive strides are being made. I think year 3 is a huge year with Spencer Rattler returning. I think this could serve as a real true breakout year, right, where they kick the door down. And again, I think all signs are positive, Mark. Again, I mean, you beat Clem Sucks in year 2. You beat the arch rival, which is going to make a lot of people happy. And, I don't see any signs of slowing down for them. Again, you're winning on the field. Recruiting's doing well. I think it's all about in year 3, just from game 1, the offense. There's no excuse. There's no grace period for Dowell Loggins. You play UNC week 1. They're going to score. You got a retooled secondary. I also think 2023 is going to be a huge year for Clayton White and fixing the run defense. But again, they are addressing those needs in recruiting both the offensive and defensive lines of scrimmage. So, yeah, if you can't tell, Mark, I'm excited. I mean, I think Beamer's the guy, and, I think it's going to be a lot of fun next couple of years in Columbia.